Welcome to Paper Wish's Embossing Folders 101. This video is going to give you the basics of using standard 2D and 3D embossing folders. I'm going to be using the Sizzix Big Shot die cutting machine. It's also an embossing machine. All machines are different, so make sure you read your machine's manual so you know how to use embossing folders, but these are just the basic tips. So for this 2D or standard embossing folder, we're going to take this and actually remove one of the layers. Okay, and this machine gives you some great tips right back here about how to make your sandwich. Okay, I'm going to explain what that sandwich is. I'm going to put that right in there. Now a 2D folder has an image inside or several images inside where they're all cut to the same depth. All right, so there's a texture on here and there's one on this side, and they're all cut to the same depth. The plastic on the folder is thinner than a 3D embossing folder. It's not, it's still a wonderful product and still has wonderful uses. There's really not one that's better than the other, it's just preferences. So we're gonna take this, open it up, we're gonna put in our cardstock. And my tip is I like to mist it once with just a little bit of water, just a little bit, just a little moisture. It's going to make that impression really nice. We're going to take our cutting plate. We're going to put the folder here with the fold side going in first. If you try to do it with the open side first, sometimes some slack can build up and it'll break this fold. So it's important to have that go in first. And then we're going to put the next layer on top. Then we're going to go ahead and crank this through our machine. You should feel some resistance, but not a lot. If you're feeling a lot of resistance, you need to remove a layer and try again. Too much resistance going through the machine can break your machine. Okay, we're going to open that up, and you see we've got a really nice impression there. It's got texture to it, and this is an example of dry embossing. Wet embossing would be if you used a stamp and embossing ink and embossing powder. So that's the difference between those two terms. All right, so the next one is a 3D embossing folder. 3D folders are thicker than 2D, and the impressions on the inside are cut to different depths. So you might have one part that's thicker and one part that's a little thinner, and the depths are different, and it gives a much more defined impression. All right, so for this one, we're going to go ahead still and put our cardstock in there. One mist, close that up. Now for this one, we're going to leave our platform with one of the layers removed. But because this 3D embossing folder is so much thicker, we only need to use one plate with it. Go ahead and put that there. Sorry, made a mistake. We're going to go ahead and take both of those off. Okay, so now we have all of our layers on the platform. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to crank that right through. Glad I caught that. Okay. As I said, all machines are different and you should check yours, but for this particular machine, because this is so thick, you only need one plate and you can leave all the layers in place. And we're going to notice this gives you an impression with amazing depth. Lots and lots of texture on that. It's so great. So you guys, in the next video, we're going to show you some techniques for using the embossing folders.